And that's where we are, the empire that once stood untouchable, now reduced to court orders, probation meetings, and sealed bank accounts. It's poetic in a way. The same man who once controlled the culture now can't even control his own schedule. But maybe, and this is where things get real, maybe this is what accountability finally looks like in an industry that spent decades avoiding it. But let's be clear, what we're witnessing here is bigger than Diddy. This is a legal and cultural autopsy. The 5-year probation isn't just a sentence, it's a 5-year documentary filmed by the federal government, with every episode airing in a confidential report to a judge. And the central theme of this documentary is the systematic deconstruction of a myth. For 30 years, the persona of Diddy was a blueprint for success, a fusion of audacity, opulence, and impenetrable control. He wasn't just an artist, he was a corporation, a lifestyle, an untouchable archetype. These probation terms are the producers cutting the budget, firing the crew, and exposing the set for what it always was, a carefully constructed facade. Every random search is a scene proving his mansions are not fortresses but addressable locations. Every financial audit is a plot point demonstrating his money is not a tool of influence but a liability, a permanent paper trail. The mandatory therapy sessions are the court-ordered script doctors, rewriting the narrative of the bad-tempered mogul into a case file for anger management. This is the system not just punishing the man, but methodically debunking the legend. And this deconstruction is creating a vacuum, a silence so profound it's causing a chain reaction across the entire business ecosystem he curated. We've talked about the ghosted calls and empty rooms, but the real financial fallout is happening in real time, right now, while he's trapped in this gilded cage. This is the domino effect in practice, and the first domino to fall was his credibility. Major fashion houses are reportedly conducting internal audits, scrutinizing every past collaboration for any potential liability, their lawyers now viewing his brand as a contaminant. The liquor conglomerate that bought his vodka brand is facing shareholder questions about their due diligence process, the very association now a mark of poor judgment. Streaming platforms are algorithmically deprioritizing his music catalog not out of malice, but because the engagement metrics are plummeting, the brand is becoming digitally toxic. This is the market enforcing its own probation. It's not just about the government freezing accounts, it's about the market voluntarily turning away. His value isn't just falling, it's being erased from the ledger by the very forces of capitalism he once mastered. The empire is being foreclosed on by public perception. Now, this leads us to the most chilling, and frankly, the most historically significant part of this entire saga: the precedent. Let's be clear, the legal framework being used here isn't new. But the totality of its application against a figure of this stature is unprecedented. The prosecution isn't just making an example of Diddy, they are writing a new playbook for the 21st century, where digital surveillance and financial forensics are the primary weapons. They are proving that in today's world, you don't need a smoking gun, you need a server log. You don't need an eyewitness, you need a blockchain ledger. This case is a signal flare to every powerful, untouchable figure in every industry. Your digital footprint is your permanent record, and the government now has the tools, the will, and the legal precedent to follow it everywhere. Diddy's case is the test run for a new form of justice, one that operates in the quiet hum of data centers rather than the dramatic bang of a gavel. And this brings us to the final, most terrifying layer for Diddy personally. We've discussed the paranoia, the pacing, the fear of the next knock on the door. But there's a deeper psychological torture at play here, one that strikes at the core of a man who built an empire on his own image, the eradication of his narrative. For his entire career, Diddy controlled the story. The bad boy, the visionary, the king. Now, the story is being written for him by probation officers, by court filings, by federal monitors. His every move is being interpreted not by Vogue or Forbes, but by a government caseworker looking for deviations. He has lost the authorship of his own life. The ultimate humiliation for a master of perception is to become the subject of someone else's cold, unflinching, and utterly dispassionate report. He is no longer P. Diddy. He is casefile #SDC 24-3581, a subject of analysis, not adoration. The man who shouted "vote or die" is now living under a system where he has no vote, no voice, only the silent, crushing weight of compliance. So, when we ask if this is justice or just the beginning, the answer is both. It is justice for the specific charges he faced, delivered with a crushing, bureaucratic finality. But it is also the undeniable beginning of a new era of accountability, where the tools of the digital age are being forged into instruments of ultimate oversight. The roar of karma in this instance is not a dramatic clap of thunder, but the relentless quiet hum of a server rack in a government building, logging his every transaction, his every location ping, his every attempt to reclaim a power that is, in every meaningful sense, already gone. The empire has not just snapped, it has been systematically disconnected, and the silence that remains is the sound of a legacy being rewritten by the one force that doesn't care about his fame, the immutable, dispassionate record of the state. This is true fame talk. The story is far from over, because the ripples of this reckoning are just now reaching the shore. Stay sharp, stay aware.